Have you ever left a social interaction feeling uncertain about how you were perceived? Perhaps you've caught yourself wondering if you said something foolish, or if your jokes fell flat. These moments of self-doubt are common, but research suggests that our perceptions of how others view us are often inaccurate. This phenomenon, known as the liking gap, reveals a fascinating aspect of human psychology that affects our social interactions and self-esteem. Understanding the liking gap. The liking gap refers to the discrepancy between how much we think others like us and how much they actually do. For over a decade, researchers have been studying this phenomenon, uncovering consistent patterns in how we underestimate our likability in social situations. In a groundbreaking study, participants were paired up for a 5-minute conversation in a laboratory setting. After the interaction, they were asked to rate how much they liked their conversation partner and how much they thought their partner liked them, using a 7-point scale. The results were eye-opening. Subjects significantly underestimated how much their conversation partners liked them. On average, participants thought they would be rated at 5.17 out of 7, while the actual average rating was a much higher 5.82. This discrepancy isn't limited to brief encounters with strangers. Another study followed college dorm mates as they formed friendships over several months. The researchers found that even as relationships developed, students continued to underestimate how much their friends liked them after each interaction. This suggests that the liking gap is not just a fleeting phenomenon, but a persistent feature of our social landscape. The impact of the liking gap. While it might seem like a harmless quirk of human psychology, the liking gap can have significant implications for our social lives and overall well-being. By consistently underestimating how much others like us, we may socialize less frequently, missing out on opportunities to form meaningful connections, experience decreased self-esteem and confidence in social situations, hesitate to express ourselves authentically, fearing negative judgments from others, miss out on professional opportunities that rely on networking and social interactions, experience increased social anxiety and stress in interpersonal situations. Understanding and addressing the liking gap can lead to more fulfilling social interactions, improved self-confidence, and a greater sense of belonging in our communities. Causes of the liking gap. Several factors contribute to the persistence of the liking gap in our social interactions. Self-critical tendencies. We tend to be our own harshest critics, focusing disproportionately on our perceived flaws and missteps. In one study, participants were asked to write down what they thought their conversation partner was thinking about them after an interaction. The results showed that people consistently believed others were having more negative thoughts about them than was actually the case. This self-critical bias leads us to fixate on moments where we think we fell short, overshadowing the positive aspects of our interactions. While self-reflection can be beneficial for personal growth, allowing it to dominate our perception of social interactions can be detrimental. Lack of explicit feedback. In most casual social encounters, we rarely receive direct feedback about how we're perceived. Unlike professional settings where feedback is more common, personal interactions often lack clear indicators of how we're coming across. This absence of explicit information forces us to rely on our own interpretations, which are often skewed by our insecurities and self-doubts. Cognitive overload during social interactions. Social interactions require us to juggle multiple tasks simultaneously. We must listen attentively, formulate responses, maintain appropriate body language, and navigate social norms, all while managing our own internal dialogue. This cognitive load can make it challenging to pick up on subtle cues that indicate others are enjoying our company, such as engaged body language or enthusiastic responses. Negativity bias. Humans have a natural tendency to give more weight to negative experiences and information than positive ones. This negativity bias can cause us to fixate on perceived social missteps or awkward moments, even if they're vastly outnumbered by positive interactions. Strategies to overcome the liking gap. Recognizing the existence of the liking gap is the first step toward mitigating its effects. Here are several strategies to help bridge this perceptual divide. Shift your focus outward. Instead of dwelling on your own performance in social situations, try to direct your attention to the people you're interacting with. Practice active listening, ask thoughtful questions, and genuinely engage with others' responses. By focusing less on yourself, You'll not only reduce self-critical thoughts but also likely come across as more interested and likable. Practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Recognize that everyone experiences moments of social uncertainty, and that your perceived flaws are likely much less noticeable or important to others than they are to you. Cultivating self-compassion can help buffer against the negative effects of self-criticism and boost your overall confidence in social situations. Seek honest feedback. If you're feeling particularly brave, consider asking trusted friends, family members, or colleagues for honest feedback about how you come across in social situations. This can provide a more objective perspective on your social skills and likability, helping to counteract your internal doubts and negative self-perceptions. Be open to clarification. Don't hesitate to ask for clarification if you think something you've said might have been misunderstood. This proactive approach can prevent misunderstandings and alleviate worries about how your words might have been interpreted. Remember the universality of the liking gap. Keep in mind that the liking gap is a common phenomenon experienced by most people. Recognizing that others are likely underestimating their own likability can help put your own doubts into perspective and foster a sense of shared human experience. Practice mindfulness. Incorporating mindfulness techniques into your daily life can help you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions during social interactions. This increased awareness can help you recognize when you're falling into patterns of negative self-evaluation and redirect your focus to the present moment. Challenge negative assumptions. When you find yourself assuming the worst about how others perceive you, try to challenge these thoughts. Look for evidence that contradicts your negative assumptions, such as people seeking out your company or responding positively to your contributions in conversations. Improve your social skills. While the liking gap suggests that we're often more likable than we think, there's always room for improvement in our social interactions. Consider working on skills like active listening, empathy, and conversation techniques to boost your confidence and effectiveness in social situations. Conclusion: the liking gap reveals a fascinating quirk of human psychology that can significantly impact our social lives and self-perception. By understanding this phenomenon and implementing strategies to overcome it, we can foster more positive and authentic social interactions, boost our self-confidence, and cultivate stronger relationships with others. Remember, the next time you leave a social interaction feeling uncertain or self-critical, there's a good chance that the other person enjoyed your company more than you realize. By bridging the liking gap, we can open ourselves up to more fulfilling social experiences and a greater sense of connection with those around us. Ultimately, recognizing and addressing the liking gap is not just about improving our social lives. It's about developing a more accurate and compassionate view of ourselves. As we learn to see ourselves through the eyes of others, we may discover that we are more likable, interesting, and valued than we ever imagined.